Have you ever wondered why people look at you and can't understand how you're still standing? They see your battles, they see the storms, and yet you refuse to fall. What if I told you there's a reason behind it all, and that in this video you're going to discover the truth that explains your strength? Stay with me until the end, because what I share there will change the way you see your journey forever. They watch you and they don't understand. They see you standing when storms should have knocked you down, and they wonder how you keep going. They look at the struggles you've faced, the losses you've carried, the battles that left scars on your spirit, and yet somehow you are still here. Not only are you still here, you are standing stronger, taller, more unshakable than before. That is what they can't explain. That is what leaves them speechless. They thought the weight of the world would crush you, but you turned that weight into strength. The truth is, chosen ones are not measured by how easy their lives are, but by how many times they rise after being struck down. People don't see the tears you've cried in silence, the nights where you almost gave up, the days when hope felt like a distant memory. They don't see the moments when you carried yourself through fire while no one was watching. They only see the outcome, you still standing. And because they cannot see the inner war, they marvel at your resilience as if it were some mystery. But you know the truth. Your survival is not random. Your strength is not coincidence. Every hardship you faced was preparing you, molding you, building you into someone who could withstand storms that would destroy others. Think of how many times life has tried to break you. The betrayals that cut deep, the disappointments that felt unbearable, the rejections that pierced your heart. Each one could have been the end. Each one could have left you in ruins. But instead, you rose again. The difference between the chosen ones and everyone else is not the absence of pain, but the decision to stand even when pain seems unbearable. You have walked through valleys others would have surrendered in, yet you are still here. That is why they wonder. That is why they look at you with disbelief. Because where others see failure, you embody endurance. But let's be honest, standing is not easy. There were days when even taking one step forward felt impossible. There were nights when your pillow held more tears than sleep. There were mornings when you looked in the mirror and questioned if you had anything left inside you. And yet, something inside refused to let you fall. That inner strength, that quiet fire, that unshakable resilience. That is the mark of the chosen. It is not that you never fall, it is that you rise every single time. And each rise makes you stronger. Each fall teaches you wisdom. Each scar becomes a symbol of your survival. You need to hear this. The reason people wonder how you keep standing is because they cannot comprehend the foundation you're standing on. They think it's willpower, they think it's luck, they think it's just personality. But the truth is, it's destiny. Chosen ones are not carried by luck, they are carried by purpose. You were never meant to collapse under pressure. You were meant to grow under it. That is why, despite every challenge, you are still here. That is why, no matter how many storms rise against you, you find a way to endure. And understand this. Your survival is not just for you. Every time you stand, you become a symbol for someone else. Someone is watching you and drawing courage from your endurance. Someone is saying, if they can make it through that, maybe I can make it too. The strength you display becomes hope for someone else's darkness. This is why your story matters. This is why your resilience matters. It's not only about you, it's about the lives you touch simply by refusing to quit. So yes, they wonder how you keep standing. They marvel at your resilience. But you know that it wasn't easy. You know the cost of every step, and you know the battles fought in silence. That's the paradox of the chosen one. People see your victories, but they will never understand the depth of your valleys. And yet, even if they never understand, you will keep walking, keep fighting, keep standing. Because that's who you are. That's why you were chosen. And as you keep moving forward, remember, every storm that tried to destroy you only revealed the strength you didn't know you had. Every trial that tried to silence you only amplified your voice. Every fall that tried to bury you only planted the seed for your rise. That is why they wonder. That is why they whisper about your endurance. Because while others broke, you became unbreakable. And the truth is, this is only the beginning. Before we go any further, I need you to pause and recognize why you are here right now. You didn't stumble upon this message by accident. There is something inside of you that needed to hear these words, and the fact that you pressed play is already a sign that you are meant to receive what's coming. So here's what I ask. Watch this video until the very end, because hidden at the end are powerful messages prepared only for those who are ready to step into their true strength. And while you are here, take a moment to write your most sincere wishes in the comments and add the number 777 next to them. By doing this, you are sending your energy into the universe, declaring your belief in your future, and planting the seeds for those wishes to manifest. And don't forget to subscribe, because this is not just a channel. It is a space built for people like you, for the chosen ones who refuse to give up, no matter how heavy life becomes. Now let's return to your journey. People see you standing, and they cannot comprehend it. They assume that strength is something you were simply born with, but what they don't realize is that your strength was forged through fire. You've been tested again and again in ways that would have crushed anyone else. Yet here you are, still rising. That is not chance. That is resilience. That is destiny. The chosen ones are not given easy paths because easy paths do not build endurance. Every trial you've faced has been a lesson. Every challenge has been a training ground. Every loss has been a refining fire. And while others only see the finished product, you know the journey, the pain, the sweat, and the nights when you almost gave up. Think about the times you were on the verge of collapse. The nights when your heart was heavy, your mind was exhausted, and your body could barely move. Somehow, in those moments, you found just enough strength to keep going. That strength didn't come from nowhere. It came from the depths of your soul, from the part of you that refuses to surrender. And every time you survived one of those nights, you came out stronger. That is why people wonder how you keep standing. They cannot understand that your strength is not built on comfort, but on surviving storms that were designed to break you. And here's the deeper truth. The reason you keep standing is because you are meant to. There is a purpose attached to your endurance. Your story is not only about you, it's about the lives you will inspire simply by refusing to fall. When others ask, how do they keep going? What they're really witnessing is destiny in motion. They're seeing the power of someone who was chosen not to quit. And whether you realize it or not, your strength is a message to the world that even in the darkest nights, light can still shine. But don't forget, the universe doesn't waste pain. Every tear you've shed, every sleepless night, every heartbreak has been preparing you for the season you are stepping into now. That is why the pressure has been so heavy lately. The closer you get to your breakthrough, the more intense the storms feel. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're standing at the edge of transformation. And the fact that you are still standing, despite all of it, is proof that nothing can stop what's already meant for you. So yes, people wonder how you keep standing. They whisper, they question, they shake their heads in disbelief. But the truth is simple. You are chosen, and chosen ones cannot be broken by what was meant to destroy them. You are living proof that resilience is stronger than failure, that faith is stronger than fear, and that purpose is stronger than pain. And as long as you keep standing, the world will keep wondering. They look at you and they see someone who should have fallen a long time ago. By all logic, by all the weight you've carried, by all the storms you've endured, they expect you to be broken. And yet, you're still here. You're still moving. You're still breathing. And that confuses them, because they can't see the invisible battles you've fought, the tears that carved rivers into your soul, The countless moments when you stood on the edge and somehow found the strength to step back into life. They wonder how you keep standing, but the truth is, you were never standing on your own. What they don't know is that every scar you carry tells a story of survival. Those silent nights where you thought no one could hear your cries were actually sacred moments of transformation. You were being built in secret, shaped when no one was watching. And while people may only see your strength today, they cannot imagine the breaking that preceded it. That is the paradox of the chosen one. Your victories look effortless from the outside, but only you know the cost that was paid in the shadows. The reason you keep standing is because you understand that falling is not failure. Every time you learned that broken pieces can be rebuilt into something stronger. You learned that even when you had nothing left, there was a fire inside you that refused to be extinguished. And that fire, that unshakable will, is what makes you different. That is what others cannot comprehend. People wonder how you keep standing because they don't see the foundation beneath you. They don't see that you are standing on faith, on lessons, on endurance. They don't realize that your foundation was built through years of storms. While others avoided difficulty, you endured it. While others looked for shortcuts, you walked through the fire. And as a result, you built strength that cannot be shaken by ordinary struggles. That's why people marvel at your survival, because you've endured what would have destroyed them. But let's not pretend it was easy. Being chosen often feels like carrying a weight that never lifts. The tests are heavier, the obstacles larger, the losses deeper. Sometimes you wonder if the universe demands too much of you. Sometimes you question why your path seems harder than others. And yet, every time, you find yourself still rising. And that is the very proof that you were chosen for more. The chosen are tested not to break them, but to prepare them. Every battle you survived was shaping you into someone who could walk into a destiny greater than you imagined. Think about the pattern of your life. The times you lost something you thought you could never live without, only to discover later that you were being protected. The times you were delayed, only to arrive at the right place at the right time. The times you thought rejection was the end, but it turned into redirection towards something better. None of it was random. Every disappointment carried hidden meaning. Every setback carried hidden strength. And every survival added another layer of resilience to your spirit. That's why you're still standing. And because you are still standing, people notice you. They wonder, they ask, they whisper. But they can only see the surface. They cannot see the roots that go deep into your soul, anchoring you when life's storms rage. They don't see the nights of prayer, the inner battles, the conversations with yourself when you chose to keep going instead of giving up. They don't know that your survival is not just an act of strength, but an act of faith. So yes, they wonder how you keep standing. And the truth is, sometimes you wonder too. Sometimes you wake up and marvel at the fact that you made it through things you thought would kill you. Sometimes you look back and realize you survived moments that seemed impossible. And that realization itself is a sign. You were never ordinary. You were chosen to carry strength beyond what others can understand. Let this be your reminder. You don't just stand for yourself. Every time you endure, you are proving to the world that resilience is possible. Every time you rise, you are showing someone else that they can rise too. That is why you're still standing. That is why you've survived every storm. Because your story is not only about you, it is about the lives you touch, the hope you create, and the light you carry, even in the darkest places. They keep asking how you keep standing, but they don't realize that standing is an art you learned the hard way. You learned to anchor your mind when the ground moved beneath your feet. You learned to breathe through panic, to slow down your thoughts until the storm inside you quieted. You learned to stop arguing with reality and start partnering with it. You discovered that the moment you stop fighting what is, You free your energy to build what will be. That is not luck, that is mastery. And while they only see the surface of your strength, the foundation runs deep, laid brick by brick in seasons where no one clapped for you and no one saw the work. There is a discipline beneath your resilience. It is the discipline of choosing what you feed your mind and what you starve. You starve doubt by refusing to repeat its story. You starve fear by acting while afraid. You starve distraction by returning again and again to what matters. At the same time, you feed courage with small, consistent wins. You feed clarity with honest self-reflection. You feed peace with boundaries that protect your energy. People think strength is loud, but the strongest parts of you are silent habits practiced when no one is watching. That is why you keep standing, because you have trained your inner world to hold you when the outer world shakes. You also learned the value of strategic retreat. There were days when pushing harder would have broken you, so you chose to step back, to rest, to recover. That wasn't weakness, that was wisdom. That you stopped measuring progress by speed and started measuring by alignment. You asked a new question. Is this step true to who I'm becoming? And when the answer was yes, you took it. Even if it was small, even if no one noticed. Quiet alignment beat noisy approval every time. They wonder how you keep standing because they judge results without context. They don't see the nights you negotiated with yourself just to get out of bed. They don't hear the conversations where you forgave people who never apologized so you could be free. They don't know how many times you sealed old doors so new ones could open. You chose healing even when anger felt easier. You chose responsibility even when blame was available. You chose growth even when comfort begged you to stay. These choices look invisible from the outside, but they are the hidden work that built your unshakable center. There is another reason you keep standing. You became fluent in the language of redirection. You stopped calling every closed door rejection. You learned to ask, what is this making space for? That single question turned heartbreak into new horizons. It turned delays into timing. It turned detours into training. When you mastered redirection, you stopped bleeding energy into what left and started investing it into what was arriving. This is why your steps look steady now. You are no longer arguing with exits. You are preparing for entrances. You also separated your identity from your outcomes. Wins no longer inflate you. Losses no longer define you. You understood that your value is non-negotiable and your purpose is not on trial. From that place, you became dangerous to doubt. They wonder how you keep standing. You keep standing because you no longer attach your worth to who claps or who leaves. Applause is a weather pattern. Identity is the climate. You chose climate. And when the climate of your soul settled into self-respect and truth, storms stopped dictating your forecast. Look at the way you handle pressure now. You don't rush to prove. You move to improve. You don't chase every rumor. You chase your rhythm. You don't try to control every outcome. You control your posture. Your posture, head up, shoulders back, heart open, became your declaration. Posture tells the storm, I am not collapsing. Posture tells the past, you can't have me. Posture tells fear, talk if you want, I'm busy becoming. And while others confuse posture with pretending, you know it is the daily decision to stand in truth before the evidence catches up. Envy noticed this too. When people don't understand the source of your balance, they assume it must be a trick. But you don't need to defend yourself against confusion. You let your fruit speak. Consistency is your translator. Patterns are your proof. The longer you keep your focus, the louder your results become. And if some still wonder how you keep standing, let them. Wonder is cheaper than work. You chose work. You chose to build a life that doesn't need permission to be possible. Another pillar of your strength is the way you steward pain. You don't glamorize suffering, but you don't waste it either. You harvest lessons. You ask, what did this teach me about me? What did this reveal about what I want? What boundary needs to be built? What skill needs to be learned? You convert pain into policies for your future. Policies that protect your peace, your time, your standards. This is not hardness. This is stewardship. The Chosen One doesn't romanticize chaos. The Chosen One creates structure that turns chaos into clarity. You also learned to honor your pace. There is a rhythm to becoming. And you stopped letting comparison rush you. You stopped measuring your chapter by someone else's timeline. You made peace with not yet because you discovered the power of right now. Right now is where you train. Right now is where you prepare. Right now is where you gather the skills that opportunities will require. When right now became sacred, impatience lost its leverage. That is when your eyes softened, your jaw unclenched, and your decisions became precise. Precision is what keeps you standing when pressure peaks. Community changed too. You began curating the voices around you. You learned that the wrong counsel is expensive. You chose people who challenge you without shaming you, who celebrate you without idolizing you, who correct you without controlling you. You understood that being a chosen one doesn't mean walking alone. It means walking with the wise. And when you couldn't find a circle, you became the circle. Reading, studying, practicing, showing up for yourself until the rooms you prayed for started inviting you in. Perhaps the greatest secret is this. You found meaning that outlives momentum. Momentum is seasonal. Meaning is sustainable. On the days when motivation ran dry, it became the quiet promise you made to the younger version of yourself who needed someone like you to survive. You stand for them. You stand for the countless faces who haven't met you yet, but will be changed by your courage. Purpose like that is a spine. It straightens you when life tries to fold you. So if they still wonder how you keep standing, let the answer be simple and true. You stand because you are rooted. Rooted in lessons, in boundaries, in meaning, in alignment. You stand because you practiced when it wasn't glamorous. You stand because you rewrite the story every morning your feet touch the floor. And you will keep standing, not because life will stop testing you, but because you have become the kind of person who doesn't negotiate their strength with storms. The Chosen One is not invincible. The Chosen One is intentional. And intention, applied daily, becomes a fortress no rumor, failure, or delay can breach. When the next wave comes, and it will, you won't panic. You will prepare. You will remember what is true, return to what is yours, and release what is not. You will protect your peace like the asset it is. You will keep promises to yourself even when no one is watching. And in doing so, you will continue to embody the answer to the same old question they keep asking. How do you keep standing? You keep standing by building the kind of inner world that no outer world can overthrow. They whisper behind your back. They question in silence. They even envy without admitting it, because no matter what comes against you, you keep standing. They've seen others fold under less pressure. They've watched people break apart from smaller storms. Yet you, against all logic, remain. And this confuses them. How can someone who has endured so much still hold their head high, still take steps forward, still refuse to collapse? What they cannot understand is that chosen ones are carried by something deeper than willpower. You are carried by purpose, and purpose will always outlast pain. Your life has been a constant proving ground. Every challenge you survived was a test not just of your endurance, but of your vision. When you had nothing left, you were forced to rely on something unseen, your faith, your belief, your inner fire. People may never know the nights you cried until your body shook, the mornings you woke up feeling like you had no reason to move, the moments when your silence was screaming louder than your words. They cannot see those hidden battles, so they assume you've had it easier than you did. But the truth is, your survival cost you everything. And yet it also gave you everything. You see, standing isn't just about strength. It's about transformation. The person you are today is not the same person who first entered the storm. Pain changed you. Disappointment sharpened you. Failure humbled you. Loss deepened you. Each battle carved something new into your soul, leaving behind wisdom, resilience, and depth. The you that stands today is unrecognizable compared to the you that once trembled at the thought of adversity. And that is why they wonder. They're not just surprised you survived. They're shocked by who you became in the process. The irony is, most people want the strength you have, but they do not want the struggle that forged it. They want the crown, but not the cross. They want the victory, but not the valley. They don't realize that chosen ones are not gifted with resilience. They are built through hardship. Your ability to stand is the product of everything that tried to destroy you but failed. That is why your presence intimidates some people. It's not arrogance, it's evidence. Evidence that storms can be survived. Evidence that life's hardest blows don't have the final word. Evidence that you are unshakable because you were willing to be shaken. And what about the loneliness? The chosen path is rarely crowded. People left when the road grew difficult. Some abandoned you when your silence was inconvenient. Others turned away when your pain became uncomfortable to witness. And yet, their absence taught you self-reliance. You learned to walk with fewer voices in your ear, so you could finally hear the voice within. The loneliness was never punishment. It was preparation. It stripped away the noise, the shallow connections, the false supporters, leaving you with clarity about who you are and what you carry. That clarity is priceless, and it's part of why you keep standing. Sometimes even you look back and wonder, how did I make it through that? You remember the season where everything seemed to fall apart at once. Health, finances, relationships, peace of mind. And somehow you're still here. If you survived that, what could possibly stop you now? People often confuse survival with stagnation, but you know better. Survival isn't standing still. It's becoming. Every moment you refused to quit, you planted seeds for the future. Every decision to keep moving, even slowly, created momentum. You didn't just survive. You transformed survival into strength and strength into wisdom. That is the cycle of the chosen one. Rise, learn, grow, repeat. And now, you walk not with the weight of fear, but with the lightness of understanding. So when they wonder how you keep standing, let them wonder. You don't owe them an explanation. Your life itself is the explanation. Your scars speak. Your consistency speaks. Your resilience speaks. You are the living answer to their question. Because while others talk about strength, you live it. While others imagine resilience, you embody it. While others doubt survival, you prove it. And in doing so, you show the world that the chosen ones don't just endure. They rise again and again until standing becomes their nature. They've watched you stumble. They've seen you bleed. They've heard the whispers of your doubt. Yet still, you rise. Still you walk forward with a strength that confuses them. They cannot explain it, because they don't know what you've carried in silence. But you know. You know every tear that watered your roots, every trial that built your backbone, every loss that carved wisdom into your soul. That is why you keep standing, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. And this is the truth you must hold on to. Storms will come again, challenges will return, and voices will question you. But none of them can break you, because what's inside you is greater than what's around you. Every time you stand, you prove that pain is temporary, but purpose is permanent. Every time you rise, you remind the world that chosen one, you've stayed until the very end, and that alone proves something powerful. You are not here by accident. These words found you because you were meant to hear them at this exact moment. Every struggle you survived, every disappointment that shaped you, every scar that still whispers of your battles, has been preparing you for a chapter greater than anything behind you. People may keep wondering how you're still standing, but the truth is, you were never standing on weakness. You were standing on purpose, and purpose doesn't collapse under pressure. It grows stronger. This video may be ending, but your